My name is Nicole Glock Maceno. I'm from Brazil, and this work was done with the professor Moisés da Silva Lara. And we are from the University of State of Santa Catarina in the south of Brazil. And the topic of this research is about dilemmas and tensions of chemistry teachers in the planning, development, and evaluation of the didactic sequence for teach science. It's a topic of a big research in the doctoral degree. We have many studies about the importance of integration of various disciplines in basic education, and the studies emphasize the potential for strong connections between learning process and practice with the cultural and social and historical context. And we have many schools, and the teachers are focused with catering to proposing plans for science education, even if they face challenges in terms of training due to the time and space necessity in the educational institution. Well, the limited presence of interdisciplinarity plans in both basic education institutions and beyond highlights the challenge tied to research advancement, collaboration networks, communication, partnership building, and the creation of effective teaching plans, especially in the science education. However, not all education institutions or schools embrace such a wide range of proposals with this approach. Other studies focused on curriculum planning in the science education have pointed out teachers' struggles with implementing interdisciplinary frameworks due to demands of research, training, collaboration among professions. So the research proposal and questions in this topic, it's about the study and we analyze the challenges and argumentation and justifications and trainings and tensions report by 2 teachers of chemistry who were interviewed by video stimulated recall. And this investigation focuses on their experience after design and execution to sequence with social scientific problem for science education. We prepare a course with these teachers, and we prepare 2 teachers to planning and development to sequence to science education, and we discussed many times about the activities in the context of this teaching sequence. We prepared a course in 1 semester and applied the sequence in about 8 months, I think. So the video stimulated recall were structured for each teachers in 2 steps. In the first, we prepare a protocol with questions, general questions and particular questions. And the particular questions we produce with select the episode's details. We recorded the teaching sequence of these 2 teachers. And we selected the episodes and recorded by audio video and prepared the interview. The organization of the interviews considered the contributions of Dempsey and another research, and the interview were transcribed for coding by sentiment analysis in the software NVivo, and we analyzed the response with a qualitative focus. The video stimulated recall, we can analyze the decision-making process, the argumentation, We can analyze many contests, especially the educational contests, and we can analyze the strategies, the intentions, and approach based on the educational needs. And we can report verbally express of their observations about the classroom dynamics, about the encouraging participants to comment on memories of situations and practice per visual artifacts. So the structure of the research that you can see, and first we contact the teacher. We applied this research in Joinville. It's a small, all the teachers, about 22 teachers, and we select 4 teachers to do the course, and after that we interview and development the research with 2 teachers of chemistry. After that, we elaboration and record the didactic sequence in the classroom, and we select episodes to details in terms of the research. And we prepare the protocol question and record the interviews. We used fictitious name for these teachers, and we use a fictitious names, and we use we call teacher Clarita from school A and teacher Sirlene from school B. Teacher Clarita applied a teaching sequence called Flounder's Channel, and teacher Sirlene applied teaching sequence we've called Chemistry of Fragrances. And in the first step of video stimulated recall, we select 7 questions about general informations, like a planning, execution, and evaluation of the teaching sequence, about the adaptations and modifications in the context of teaching plans, about the individual and qualitative outcomes, about the self-evaluation of teaching sequence, and about the evaluation organization. So, after that, we produce questions particular about the episode's details. We select 11 episodes from teacher Clarita and 12 episodes from teacher Sirlene. So we analyze the informations about the video stimulated recall, the answers, and we produce 3 levels to discuss. In the level 1, about the planning based on interdisciplinarity, we concluded that teachers focus on planning and about content, the theme, the activities, the time, the environment, and ways to conduct classes. And we find that plans structures for students understand and interested, and could lead to pedagogical change, research on the teacher's work and routine. Another finds that the importance of routine of evaluation of didactic sequence by the teacher. And that you can see, we bring some details of this video stimulated recall. For example, teacher Clarita said, "We were always talking. I had some inquiries also about the content. I was very worried about doing it because I wanted to work on thermochemistry. In the second year, there is a lot of calculus. I wanted to escape a little, let's say, not escape the calculation, but bring some things more from their day-to-day, For the second year class, I always worry about trying to explain, make a clear explanation for students, something they understood. And another details, for example, teacher said, I would make a change regarding, for example, its content. I think it was very fast and very expository. It would have worked in another way. I think I should have divided the class into more moments. Let's say they stay in groups a lot. And for example, teacher Sirlene said, at the same time that I found it difficult, it was easy. But that way, when you start researching, you see that you know very little. It was difficult. It was very difficult to choose the theme because you left it wide open. Choosing the class, in which class to apply. At the time, we want to include a topic that was attractive, but what is attractive to us is not always attractive to students. So it's complicated. And we analyze the level 2 about the development of teaching sequences based in interdisciplinarity. And we concluded that influence of knowledge, motivation, and results obtained by the class in activities. And we find that concern with the language used, feedback on activities, questions and answers, concept explored, understand of the class, and the quality of teamwork. And we find that interference from the environment, the nervousness, the experience, insecurity of the teacher in conceptual terms to teach a sequence that involves disciplinary spheres outside their training. About that, for example, teacher Clarita said, but could it be that when they were doing the activities which they had to respond to, they managed to understand? What was I trying to say? So when listen there, everyone, when I had to listen, everyone pay attention. But when doing the group activities, as they were in a very large group, I don't know if everyone actually managed it, to understand. Or, for example, Clarita said, I was a little insecurity just with the progress of this discussion. I could have stayed a little calmer and asked some questions to go ahead, let's say. It's not going ahead, it's to touch on some subjects that I would talk about later, right? And teacher Sirlene said about the development of teaching sequence, for example, concept. I would say that linking the concept with that way, what they have in terms of knowledge is a difficult that I have. That's why I put a lot of emphasis on that. Will students understand this language? So I have this cut, I also have a lot of difficulty in this dynamic of different classes. Or teacher Sirlene said, the first questions the students answered, for example, my idea was that they would answer literally by themselves. But I don't know if you notice anything there. I gave them that time to draw their own conclusions. And we concluded about the level 3, about the evaluation. We found tensions and need for a collective perception of the knowledge communicated by the class, the performance of the objectives of the activities and the development of values, for example. And we find that evaluation development in the classroom dialogues in which teachers verify how much the students' explanations to the task questions were genuinely their own, of their own authorship. About this, for example, teacher Clarita said, there are many students who think about grades. I think it's their knowledge. They will gain knowledge. It's not just a matter of grades or gain grades, but it's gain knowledge. But for some students who are aware of it, he knows who are there gain knowledge. And there are others who don't, who are there to gain grades, he knows. He only noticed because he wants approval. And teacher Sirlene said, for example, we can no longer evaluate sample formation. And because it's a different content, which was the objective, it would be more difficult to do a test with them. The objective, in my opinion, when I opted for the sequences, was not theoretical knowledge. It was something that they could take into their lives, and I think that this is more qualified than quantified. That's why I think that the dialogue for me at that moment would be more enriching. And for example, teacher Sirlene said, I already remembered the cell phone off the top of my head because I wanted a personal answer, not taken from cell phone. There is no point in the safety with me which an answer that is not ours. I wanted to know what they think. It could be a short answer, but let it be his. So that was my intention, because they are very afraid of, like, is my answer correct? And finally, the results about this topic of research. We concluded the interviews. In the interviews, the teachers report difficulties in planning teaching sequence due to issues related to various aspects within the involved school communities. And we find these situations range from substance use to competition, conflicts in discussions, parallel events at school, and other aspects. And we found the interdisciplinarity teach posed challenges for chemistry training teachers due to various factors. And about the planning level, we find that aimed at selection concepts and contents, even with training and integration difficulties in the level of development, we find the carrying out the activities and the teacher's action in a reflective way, and to qualify the practice, teaching and evaluation. In the level of evaluation, we find that analysis of dialogues and qualitative perception of activities, observing the degree of authenticity of individual response, however, with difficulties in assessing in order to integrate different disciplinary spheres and areas of knowledge under the judgment of the same teacher. And the results point to difficulties in planning sequences in definition of social scientific problems, of an integration of various disciplines and research outside the discipline sphere of chemistry. The responses point to the structuring evaluations with an individual scope and not just a qualitative one. And we find that dilemmas in analyzing the responsiveness of students in the production of genuine responses that require conceptual domains from other areas of knowledge. And the results point to the tensions between individual and collective evaluation, and problems like student behavior, like over-evaluation of the grade in addiction to their self-criticisms, and changes in their planning were emphasized. Thank you for your attention.